All right, guys, what's up? I know it's been a while. Hopefully, everybody's social distancing is going well and everybody is safe and all that kind of good stuff. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your assignments for this week. You're going to have a couple things in KP to work on. And I know a lot of you guys are having issues and struggling with that. It's going to ask you to do stuff like prepare cookies and compare and contrast. A lot of that stuff we've done already in class, but you still need to type out those comparisons or what you feel like was going to happen and submit those documents in order to get those things to go from yellow to green. So that evidence needs to be submitted in that KP Compass, and I think that's where a lot of you guys are struggling with. So please keep that in mind. Please reach out if you have questions about that type of stuff. With that in mind, we have, besides the KP Compass, we got a couple of things that we work on this week. Your menu final draft for your restaurant project and menu item costing is what we're going to be working on for this week. So your menu final draft, I posted an assignment for that with some details. It's got to have a minimum of 12 items. It needs to be a menu like you're going to hand to your customer. So a Microsoft Word document or a Google's Doc just with plain text is not going to cut it for this. You need to be utilizing upselling stuff like hot zones and highlighted in bold text and boxing and menu items and that type of stuff. And it needs to be a final product like you would give to a customer. So please make sure you're using, we played with Adobe Spark, we played with Canva. If you know how to use some other editing software and you want to do that, by all means, whatever works best for you, but it needs to be a final product. And I'll show you kind of an example of what we're looking at for that when I go to sharing my screen here. With that, you have a minimum of 12 menu items on your menu. You need to have 3 of those menu items that you're going to create recipes for and you're going to cost. And we're going to kind of do that all in one step. For the costing, you cannot pick a 2-component dish. Like if you're going to do chips and salsa, you can't give me the menu for tortilla chips that you're just going to cut up tortillas and fry. No, your menus need, or your recipes need to have a minimum of 7 ingredients that you're going to be costing. So you can't just give me that simple 2-ingredient menu or recipe to cost. You need to have a minimum of 7 ingredients per recipe, and you need to cost and write 3 of those recipes. And I am going to go through how you're going to do that today so that you're able to see that, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so you can see what I'm doing. That's what we're going to work on here. So what we have is our Google Classroom. So I gave you your menu costing resources. You have a menu costing sheet, and you have this McFarland sample order guide. When you open this, it is going to behoove you. Let me go back to it here. There should be a button for you to download. So you download this and open it, and then it should look something like this. And what this is going to allow you to do is you can now click, Command F or Control F, depending on if you're using a Mac or PC, and you can type in what you're looking for. So if I want potatoes, I can, type potato in there, and I can search. And if you look here, it's going to give me anything with POT in it. So I can then easily go through this and I can find all the different potato items. So rather than scrolling through these 12 pages, you can type in what you're looking for. If I want butter, all right, you type in butter, and then you can scroll through and see, we got syrup butter maple, we got buttermilk, we got peanut butter, we got, back to more syrup. So there's all types of different ways that you can utilize this form, but download it, Control F, Control Find basically will allow you to search for things quickly. The other thing that was there is this student costing form, okay? And I'm gonna go through this, and you're gonna be using these 2 sheets together. Before I get to this was in a kind of a sample menu. This is kind of my expectation. I'm looking for something that you would give to a customer, right? So we're utilizing categories, appetizers, platters, sandwiches. You can utilize whatever category you want. You could do cupcakes, ice creams, and cookies if you're doing some kind of bakery. Beverages can be a category, but everything should have menu items, descriptions. You should have a pricing system, whether you're doing individual a la carte, semi a la carte, if you're doing a prefix menu, where you're going to have, it's, $30 and pick something from each course. It does not matter. It is your menu. It is your restaurant. Do what works for you. Please keep in mind, though, that your menu needs to support the theme of your restaurant. All right. So please keep that in mind. So let's go back to this student costing sheet. So what you have here is 3 tabs at the bottom that you're going to see. First is the master costing form. Then you have this loaded potatoes tab that we're going to go over. And then the fish and chips tab here is a completed costed recipe. And these two will be here, and we're going to do the loaded potato bites together. But this is what your form should look like when it's all said and done. The costing will happen automatically for you. So with that in mind, some things you need to know about this sheet. Any cells that are red, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns that are in red, and these 3 cells at the top here that are red, never ever type or edit these cells. All right, these have formulas in them that are going to do the math for you. So if you go in and start typing in those cells, the math will not happen for you, and you're going to have to figure out how to do that math all by yourself. So if it is a red cell, do not type in it. Do not confuse the red for this kind of pink color here. This is your yield, and we will get to that in a little bit. Never type in your master form. All right, so what I would do if I were you is I would come down here to the bottom and I would double click this, or I would right click this master form, and I would duplicate it 3 times. All right, because you're going to need to cost 3 recipes. All right, and so this way you have 3 blank forms that you can then title whatever you want. I'm just going to title recipe 1, recipe 2, recipe 3. Or I would title them whatever your recipe you're going to cost. So if you're going to cost lobster rolls, title it as lobster rolls, all right? But do not type on the master form. So let's get into this a little bit. It's pretty straightforward since I have the formulas in here to do the math for you, but there's some things in the order you have to do stuff. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to type in your recipe information. So you need to develop a recipe or find a recipe. If you find a recipe online, please make sure at the bottom here that we're going to get to this in a little bit, that you cite that somewhere if it's not your original recipe. So first thing to do, name of the recipe. Recipe name here, loaded potato bites. What is the yield? This recipe yields 3 pounds. Number of portions, 2. And then your guess at menu price, we're going to guess it's going to be $3.50. These can change. You can change your menu price at any point in time. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to put in your ingredients. So this recipe calls for rosemary potatoes. This should be red potatoes, sorry. We're just going to leave it potatoes for now. So potatoes, olive oil, salt, cheddar cheese, sour cream, bacon, black pepper, chives. Those are our ingredients. Then we have the quantity. So this needs 1.5 and the unit is pounds. So 1.5 pounds. So make sure each of these columns, you have 1 for the ingredient, 1 for the quantity, 1 for the unit. And those are going to be important. So step 1 in this process is put your recipe information in here. So I have what the recipe is, all the information, I have all my ingredients, right? Once that is in there, we can start the costing process. And the first step is going to be to get our purchasing information. So our first ingredient is potatoes. So we're going to do the yellow column as step 2. So blue column is step 1, yellow column is step 2. So what we're going to do is we need to find the cost as purchased, the number of units as purchased in the unit, and all that information is going to be here. So our first ingredient is potatoes. We're going to go over here. We're going to do Control F. We're going to type in potatoes. All right, and we're going to search through potatoes. So you have to be careful what you're looking for here. So like this is Simplot 3/8 classic cut potatoes. These are French fries. So we're looking for just some regular old potatoes. Either russet or chef potatoes is what we're looking for. Potato bites, Simplot. So we're going to keep scrolling through till we find the potatoes we're looking for. Sweet potatoes, potato tops. All right, let's try. All right. So potato, but here we go. Potato baker. And these are just our standard russet potatoes we get. All right. So I got it highlighted here. A couple things we need to look at. First, the pack size. This comes in one 50-pound container. All right. It is a potato. It's a baking potato, and it's a 40 count. So this is important to know for potatoes. See, we have a 60 count, a 70 count, and an 80 count below this. The price is pretty close for all of them. But what does that mean? That means that 40 count, 40 potatoes is going to equal 50 pounds. The same thing here, 80 potatoes is still going to equal 50 pounds. So this 40 count is literally double the size of the 80 count. All right. So for the sake of argument, we're going to use the 40 count potatoes here. We know that the as purchased price is $20 and the pack size is 50 pounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our costing sheet, right? And we're going to say AP cost is $20 to 0.00. Number of units is 50, and the unit is pounds, right? And notice when I put that unit in here, that unit generates over here as well. And I'm going to just make this all the same. I'm going to change that LB to pounds, right? So as soon as I put a unit here, if I go ounces, notice that this cell right here changed to ounces. And this is going to be very important for the next step, right? So potatoes cost us $20. And the number of units is 50 pounds. And so a couple things happened. We got our units transferred over here, and then our AP cost per unit got switched out to, sorry, I'm going to change something here. I'm going to make sure this is in dollars. And I'll do this on the master form so you don't have to. This should be in dollars as well. And this should be in dollars. So this will all be changed when you guys get to that master form all ready for you, right? So what we know is that the cost per 1 pound, because that's the as purchased cost per unit, our units are pound, is 40 cents a pound. We know that our new recipe quantity here is going to have to be in pounds as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to do that for all of these ingredients. All right. So I'm not going to sit here. I'll do a couple more with you, but then I'll pause the recording. Actually, no, we'll do them all together. We got time. So the next one is olive oil. We'll go back over here. We'll type in oil. We'll see what oil options we have to choose from. Foil wrap, oil canola, oil sesame seed, oil soy, oil white truffle, olive oil blend. All right. So right down here, olive oil blend. So this was 6 1-gallon containers, cost $83.57. So we need to know 6 gallons is our pack size and $83.57 is the cost. So we go over here, we do 83.57. The units is 6 in gallons is where we're at. Notice we have gallons here. We have our price per unit. AP is $13.93 per gallon. And then we go to salt is the next one we're going to look up. And we go up here, we type in salt. All right, salt iodized, salt kosher. And as we know, whenever we're cooking, we use kosher salt unless we're baking. So we're going to look at this. So I want you to look. It says 12/3 pounds. What that means is that you're going to get a box. And in that box, there are going to be 12 boxes of salt. Each box of salt weighs 3 pounds. So in reality, you're not getting just 3 pounds of salt, you're getting 36 pounds of salt, right? And that's important to know when you're putting it in this costing form. So our kosher salt right here is $29.62 for 36 pounds. So 29.62, and that is 36 pounds, all right? Next one, cheddar cheese. So let's go to cheddar. See what we can find. Helps if I spell things right, which you guys know I cannot do. All right, cheese, mild cheddar. All right. So this one adds another little tricky thing in here. All right. If we look here at our pack size, it's going to say 10 LBV. That LBV is very important. That LBV basically means that the price down here doesn't reflect the price for 10 pounds. It reflects the price per a pound, right? So this one is a little tricky. All the other ones, you've just taken 10 pounds and $9.93 in the price and you put them in. Whenever you see that LBV, 10 pounds LBV, this price is already the price for 1 pound. All right, so when you enter it in that form, what you have to remember is $9.93 is the cost for 1 pound, not for 10 pounds. And that makes a big difference. So look, if we go in here and we put our price, 9.93, and we put 10, and then we put pounds, right? Our price per unit, our price per pound is now 99 cents. But if we change this to 1 pound, because the price per pound is $9.93, our price changes $9.93. If we need 4 pounds of cheddar cheese for our recipe, that's going to be a big difference in the cost. And this is where you're going to make those little mistakes that add up to huge differences. So remember, if you ever see, oh, there we go, I can zoom. It's a little better for us. That LBV right here, all right? That's what we're looking at. Cheddar cheese, LBV, 10 pounds LBV. That is basically saying this is 10 pounds at, and then our price per pound is $9.93. All right, so please pay attention for those little differences there when it comes to that. All right, next item, sour cream. So let's go back to our order guide. We'll type in sour cream up here. Sour cream, grade A, all right? So 2 5-pound containers. So that's 10 pounds of sour cream, and that's gonna cost us $19.81. We go back here, we put in 19.81, and that is for 10 pounds, all right? Cream cheese is our next recipe item. So we type in cream cheese. And if nothing comes up, just type in cheese or just type in cream. I gotta spell things right, apparently. Cheese American, cheese American, cheese blue, cheese cheddar, cheese cream, all right? So this is 10 3-pound containers, all right? 10 3-pound containers. Now, another tricky thing we gotta look for. This column here, this E column, stands for each. So a case of this comes with 10 3-pound containers, that's 30 pounds. But they sell them by the each, which means you can just buy 1 3-pound container of cream cheese. So whenever you see the each, all right, this price reflects one of the individual items. So what we're really looking at here is $7.41 is the price for one of these 3-pound containers. Right? So what we do is we'll take this 741, we'll go back to our costing sheet, and we'll type in 7.41. Our quantity was 3 pounds. All right? Because remember that cream cheese was sold 10 3-pound containers per case. So one individual is going to be 3 pounds. All right? Next item is bacon. Bacon layout. So 15 pounds of layout bacon is $59.33. So $59.33 for 15 pounds. There we go. I don't know why it's over there. It should be the rest of them. Next item is black pepper. Type in pepper. All right, pepper black whole, pepper black cafe grind, pepper black regular grind. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at this cafe ground pepper. That's kind of the table ground is what we use. And same thing here. So if we're looking at it, the case comes with 6 18-ounce containers. We got to see that there is a Y there, which means it's sold by the each. So this price of $21.14 is the price for one 18-ounce container of pepper. So $21.14 is our price. And that's for one 18-ounce container. All right. Black pepper is expensive. It's $1.17 per an ounce. So when you guys are cooking and spilling black pepper everywhere, kind of keep in mind what you're spilling. All right, last one is chives here. Chives fresh, 1 ounce. All right. So $3.82 is the cost for 1 ounce of chives, which we'll put over here. But I want to talk about what happens if this order guide doesn't have what you're looking for. All right. What happens if you need gochujang or you need dark soy sauce or you need something that's not on this form? Well, at that point, we're going to go to Google. Like, let's say we needed chives. All right. We're going to go to look up how much fresh chives are. So we could go to walmart.com. We could go to Amazon. All right. Go to Amazon Fresh. All right. Let's go in here and let's search for chives and see if they sell chives. Look, chives. All right. So the chives here are $2.99 for a 0.75 ounce clamshell. All right. So if you can't find something on this order guide, it's okay. You can just look it up online and the process is the same. So if we're going to use this, right? Look, it gives us a price per pound there, but we have $2.99 for 0.75 ounces. All right, so we can do that right here. We can go 2.99 for 0.75 ounces, all right? And that gives us, you know, our price per unit. So $2.99 is for 7.75 ounces, which means 1 ounce is going to be $3.99, right? So if you can't find a menu or a recipe item or ingredient, go ahead. You can use Amazon Fresh. You can use Walmart. You can use any of those stores to do this, all right? All right, the next step is going to be the hardest step for you guys, and it always is. All right, so step 1, blue column. Step 2, yellow column. Look up your items, put prices in. Step 3 is the green column, all right? And if you remember, when we changed the menu item here, it auto-generated over to this column. So what we have to do is we have to change all the measurements in the blue column to match, all right? And some of them will be the same. Like the first one, potatoes. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of potatoes. We buy them by the pound. So our new recipe quantity does not change. It says 1.5 pounds of potatoes, all right? Next one's trickier, all right? The recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We sell it by the gallon, so we need to convert 1 tablespoon to gallons, all right? We know there's 128 ounces in a gallon. Multiply that by 2, it's 246. So we need to convert 1 tablespoon to gallon. So what you can do is if you know that conversion rate, you can make a formula or you can do the math on your own. Either way, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I'm doing the math in my head right now. So if we have 256 tablespoons in a gallon, it'd be 1 divided by 256, which is 0.0039. Or what you can do is press equals 1 divided by 256, and it'll do the math automatically for you. It doesn't matter which way you do it. You can do the math on paper if you need to do it on paper and type the number in manually, or you can let this do the math for you. Either way, it doesn't matter, all right? As long as you get the math done is done correctly, all right? The next one is salt. We're going from teaspoons to pounds. We're going to skip that one for right now. We're going to skip cheese. We're going to skip, we're going to go ahead and do it. So the issue becomes here is we're going from a volume measurement to a weight measurement, all right? So what we need to do is we need to then convert that salt to a weight measurement. And what you're gonna have to do, and this is where it's gonna get tricky, there's something called the Book of Yields you can use for this. You guys don't have a Book of Yields. So what you need to look for is 1 teaspoon of salt equals how many pounds? And you're gonna try to Google that response. And what we're gonna find is 1 teaspoon of salt is equal to 0.013 pounds, right? And for what we're doing, 0.013, that's fine. That one was easy. It came right up for us. Salt's a very common thing that we can convert. All right, if we do the same thing, cheddar cheese, all right, that might be a little different. So let's say 1 cup of cheddar cheese equals how many pounds? All right. And so this one didn't give you the answer right out. So American cheese, cheddar cheese, 1 pound is 4 cups grated. All right. So that gives us that rate of, you know, it gives us a conversion factor. So 1 pound equals 4 cups. So then what's 3/4 of a cup equal? And that's when we're going to have to go ahead and, you know, write those things out, do our, what is that thing called again? We call it our basic unit conversion. I'm going to go ahead and do that and put that in for us. All right, so that's going to be 0.1875. 3/4 of a cup is going to be 0.1875 pounds. All right, sour cream, same thing. We need 5/8 of a cup, and it's going into pounds. All right. So my recommendation, if you want to make your life easier, is you guys look at how those units are sold. All right. And you write your recipe accordingly. Or if you want to go to Amazon Fresh maybe and see if there is a cup of sour cream they sell, you can do that. You can see if there's a different price out there. All right. So sour cream, we have this, you know, 8 ounce. We have a half cup here that we could put in. It's $1.39 for 8 ounces, or your 0.5 cups. All right, this is, you know, or that's, sorry, that's 1 cup. 8 ounces is 1 cup. So $1.39 a cup. So if we wanted to, we could go over here to sour cream, and we could say it's $1.39 for 1 cup. All right, and we need 5/8 of a cup, and so that stays the same. That's an option too if you guys can't figure out the conversions. So you either need to find a price for it sold in the way your recipe is written, or write your recipe in a way that it's sold, or you need to do the conversion. Are kind of your 3 options. Cream cheese, 2 ounces, converting to pounds. That's a pretty simple conversion. We've done a bunch that we can do. So we need to convert ounces to pounds. So 2 divided by 16 ounces in a pound equals 0.125. All right, bacon. Now this is the tricky one, 3/8 of a cup of bacon. Ideally, this would be written in pounds, and that's an option for you too. Remember, they are your recipes. So if you don't want to do this in pound cups, like a 3/8 of a cup, if you think that's a dumb way to do that, which for this recipe it is, change it. Maybe you just want 5 ounces of bacon. Maybe you want 3 ounces of bacon. Maybe you want 1/4 of a pound. Right? So as you're doing this, you can tweak your recipe. Maybe you want more bacon than the recipe you online found. So maybe I want a 1/2 pound of bacon, so I'm going to do 8 ounces. All right. So 8 ounces then converts to 0.5 pounds. So you have lots of options to tweak this to make it fit your needs. The next one is black pepper. The recipe calls for ounces. It is sold in ounces, so that stays the same. Last one is chives. We need 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon equals 1/2 ounce. So that goes in there. Now, the last column here is yield. And once we put the yield in, it's going to generate total cost for us. So that's what kind of we need to pay attention to here. And what yield is yield is how much of an item we're going to use. And some things have 100% yield, some things have a yield percentage. So you need to think through this process of how this item is going to be used. For example, the potatoes. Are you going to peel the potatoes? All right. Let's say for these loaded potato bites, we are going to peel the potato. So we need to look up the yield for a potato. So we would type in yield percent for potato. All right. And we're going to product yield chef resources here. This is a great site. Hopefully. I think I've used this one before. So this is going to give you, and I'm going to post something here, a resource for you as well, right? It's going to give you a bunch of yield percentages. So we're going to look for potatoes in here. Potato russet 100 count, 81% yield, all right? So the yield percentage is going to be about the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to say 81%. So that means of the potato, once we peel it, we're only going to end up using 81% of that potato. That other 19% of the potato is the peel that gets thrown away. So when we're looking at our recipe, if we need 1.5 pounds, we don't really need 1.5 pounds. We need an additional 20% on top of that. So our yield then becomes 81% for that, all right? And what that's going to do is it's going to create an edible portion cost. So at 81% yield, our as purchase is 40 cents. But when we lose 19%, the real cost is 49 cents per pound, right? So all that math will happen automatically for you. You just have to think through the process of, am I peeling a potato? Do I have a yield percent? So olive oil, are we going to have any loss? No, it's 100% yield. Salt, are we going to have any loss? No, it's 100% yield, right? A lot of the stuff in your recipes, cheddar cheese, we're using all the cheese? We're not peeling it? 100%. Sour cream, 100%. Cream cheese, 100%. All right? So bacon is where it gets tricky. Again, you need to think through the process. The way your recipe is written, do you need 8 ounces of rendered bacon? Or do you need 8 ounces of raw bacon that you're then going to render? If it's option 2, if you're going to use raw bacon and render it, then 8 ounces is fine. But if I need 8 ounces of cooked rendered bacon for my recipe, you got to find the yield percentage for that, all right? So yield of bacon. Results. Pan-fried bacon averaged at 31% cooking yield, all right? So that means we're going to need a lot more bacon because we're going to render a bunch of fat out of there, right? And so this is where it comes down to, how do you want to write your recipe? Do I want 8 ounces of bacon and I'm going to cook it and use it? That's fine. Or do I need 8 ounces of cooked bacon, right? Because if I need 8 ounces of cooked bacon, then this is only a 31% yield. My price goes from $3.96 a pound to $12 a pound after I render all the fat out of there and left with just cooked bacon, right? So we're going to say, for the sake of this recipe, it calls for 8 ounces. We're going to render it and use it, and that's it. We're not going to worry about yield loss there. Black pepper should be 100%. And chives, chives will have a yield because you're going to lose some of the end pieces and that kind of stuff as well. So yield of chives. All right. Chive production. Oh, where's that other website we had? Let's go back to it. So let's see if we got them on here. Nope, no chives on there. See if we can find the yield percent. Fresh herbs. Part 1. All right. So, this is, I'll try to link this if I can. If this is, all right. So this is actually the book of yields. This looks like a PDF version of it. So I'll try to save this and link this for you as well. Dry herbs. We want fresh herbs. Oh, there we go. Fresh herbs. Chive, 6 inches in length. All right. They have a 95% yield right here is what we're going to look at. And so that's what our yield percentage is going to become there. And I will link that into your Google Classroom for you so you have it. So 95% becomes our yield. right? And that's it. That's our whole recipe. Now, what we got to look at here is total cost. We have something that costs $6,000. That's not right. So you want to do a quick glance through this and say, oh man, something's horribly wrong here. Well, if we look, my yield percent, I put 1,009%. It's just 100% yield, right? So 100% yield goes to $61,000. So there's still something drastically wrong with what's going on there. Oh, I know what it is. So 5/8. So you can't type 5/8 like that in. You need to put an actual decimal version of that. So you need to take 5 and divide it by 8. 5 divided by 8. You can, once again, you can either do equals and type it in, or you can just do the math and put the decimal in there. Equals 5 divided by 8. Enter. Why is that not working? All right. So we're just going to do the math then, and that equals 0.625. 0.625. And so that fixes our problem there, where it should only be 87 cents. Down at the bottom is going to be your total cost for the recipe. So right now our recipe costs $8.21. That yields 3 pounds and 2 portions. So the cost per portion is $4.11, and our menu price is $3.50. So what we need to do is we need to make about a 30% food cost is what we want. And so what we'll do is we'll play with this menu pricing until, and you can kind of guess. So if you take 411 and you multiply it by 3, right? And let's say it's, $12.50, right? That'll get us about a 30% food cost. And that's about where you want to be. And so then this is your menu price that you would do for loaded potato bites. If they're getting, if it's really only 2 portions, then, it's going to have to be $12.50 at least per portion. But that portion is also 1.5 pounds. So if you want a 1/2 pound portion, then our portions now become 6, right? And so at 6 portions per recipe, we can probably reduce the price to like $6 a portion, right? At $6 a portion, you get a 1/2 pound of loaded potato bites, and it's under 30% food cost. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. And so that's going to kind of be what you guys need to do. Your costing, I'm just going to be doing Sunday. If it's not 100% perfect, that's fine. I'm going to look at them and give you some critique and feedback and let you revise them again. But that's basics of how this costing sheet works. Now, this is recorded, so you can go back and forth and look at it as many times as you want. So luckily, you have that resource there. Once again, you can reach out via Google Hangout to ask me questions on this. I know costing can get very tricky. Utilize the resources you have there and try to do your best on this. So for this week, actually think about it. Don't worry about KP Compass. I think your menu and your costing is going to be enough. So this will give you this week to catch up if you haven't done the KP Compass stuff yet. Get your finalized menu done and get your 3 recipes costed out. Oh, the other thing I wanted you to do, let me share my screen again, is this is your recipe. So at the bottom here, this is where you're going to type out your method. So in this bottom area, this will be your recipe method, right? So, method step 1. And so we're actually going to change this a little bit so you can unmerge all those shells. So you'll just type your method at the bottom. So method And then type step one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what are the steps in your recipe method? So that way you have your costed recipe at the top and you have the method of how you're going to cook it at the bottom. So I'll be looking for both the costing and the method to be in those recipes that you're doing. So once again, you have any questions, please reach out via Google Hangout and ask me any questions you have on this. Get caught up on your Compass stuff. That stuff will be going in the gradebook at some point this week. I'm looking for you to get to green on mastery and all the stuff we're doing. You have to submit your evidence, all right? You actually have to type stuff out and submit it in order for me to go through and check it to get some of those modules to turn green, all right? So with that, hopefully everybody has a good week. Hopefully everybody can get outside a little bit, enjoy the weather, be safe, and we will talk to you guys next week, all right?